Now we will continue with the types of heat capacities. Now first is the heat capacity at constant volume, that is Cv. Now we know that C is equal to dq by dt and dq is equal to du plus pdv from first law we have studied. So that means at constant volume dv would become equal to 0, indicating that Cv is equal to du by dt at constant V. Now let us talk about the heat capacity at constant pressure. Now if the pressure is constant, so Cp is equal to du by dt at constant P plus P dV by dt at constant P, and we know that this is equal to delta H, that means dH by dt at constant P. So now let us derive the relationship between Cp and Cv. Now H is equal to U plus Pv, and we also know that Pv is equal to RT for 1 mole of gas. So H is equal to U plus RT. Now differentiating with respect to temperature, we get, and we know that dH by dt at constant P, it is equal to Cp, and du by dt at constant volume is Cv. So that means Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Now let us understand the limitation of first law of thermodynamics. Now what was the limitation of first law? It could not predict the spontaneity or feasibility of a reaction. Now let us understand what do we mean by a spontaneous process and a non-spontaneous process. Now what is a spontaneous process? A process which can take place by its own or by initiation with heat, light or electricity is known as a spontaneous process. Now for example, heat would always flow from a hot body to a cold body. It is a spontaneous process. Water will always flow down the hill. It is a spontaneous process. Whenever you put NaCl in water, it will dissolve. So it is a spontaneous process. Now what is a non-spontaneous process? Now a process which cannot take place on its own, and it will not take place even after initiation with heat, light or electricity, is known as a non-spontaneous process. Now what is the driving force for a reaction to be spontaneous? First is tendency for minimum energy. Now you know that any system which has minimum energy has maximum stability. So all the systems are trying to attain stability, indicating that every system will go towards minimum energy. That means if I talk about an exothermic reaction which is releasing energy, that means it is going towards stability because it has minimum energy after releasing the energy. So that means for reactions for which delta H is negative, they would be spontaneous. But we know that there is a limitation to this concept. Why? What is the limitation? We know many endothermic reactions for which delta H is positive. but still they are spontaneous. For example, if I say that ice is melting, I have to supply energy for it, indicating that delta H is positive and this reaction is spontaneous. Melting of ice, which is an endothermic reaction, it is spontaneous. Then there are many reactions for which delta H is 0, but still they are spontaneous. Suppose I take two gases in two different vessels and I connect those vessels with a stopcock. After opening the stopcock, mixing of those gases will take place. It's a spontaneous process, but it does not involve any heat being released or heat being absorbed. That means delta H is 0, but still this reaction is spontaneous. That means delta H equal to negative is not the only criteria to decide the spontaneity of a reaction. There are many reactions which are exothermic, but they hardly proceed to completion. So let us study the next factor which is responsible for spontaneity of a reaction, and the next factor is tendency for maximum randomness. So the next factor is tendency for maximum randomness. Now again let us study the case carefully. I have taken two gases in two different vessels and now I open the stopcock between the two vessels and I see that mixing of gases is taking place, but it does not involve any release of heat or any absorption of heat, but still the mixing is taking place. What does this indicate here now? Randomness has increased. पहले क्या था, डिसऑर्डर कम था क्योंकि वो दोनों गैसेस अलग अलग वेसल में थी. आफ्टर मिक्सिंग द डिसऑर्डर ऑफ द सिस्टम हैज़ इंक्रीज्ड, indicating that the system is going towards maximum randomness. So that means for the reactions in which energy factor is not working, the randomness factor will work. And what is this randomness or disorder of the system? It is known as entropy and it is denoted by S. So that means if a reaction is spontaneous, either it is enthalpy driven, that is it has minimum energy, or it is entropy driven, that means it has maximum entropy. Now let us understand the endothermic reaction again, that is melting of ice. जो हम कह रहे थे कि अगर हम सिर्फ एनर्जी फैक्टर को देखेंगे तो हम कहेंगे कि वो नॉन स्पॉन्टेनियस है, लेकिन अगर हम रैंडमनेस फैक्टर को देखेंगे तो नाउ वी विल सी दैट कि आइस जब वाटर में कन्वर्ट होता है तो रैंडमनेस ऑफ द सिस्टम इज इंक्रीजिंग. दैट मीन्स randomness factor is favoring this reaction. So it is favored by the randomness factor, energy factor is not favoring it. So we will say that it is a entropy driven reaction. So all the reactions which are endothermic but still they are spontaneous indicates that they are entropy driven. Decomposition of calcium carbonate. What is the equation? Now it is an endothermic reaction but still it is taking place because we see here that solid is getting converted into solid and gas. That means randomness of the system has increased, which means that this reaction is again entropy driven and it is not enthalpy driven. Now suppose I say that there is a reaction in which R also favors the reaction and E also favors the reaction. So this reaction would be highly spontaneous because both the factors are favoring this reaction. But if I say that there is a reaction in which neither R is favoring, neither E is favoring, I will say that the reaction is highly non-spontaneous. From here, now let us move on to the concept of entropy. What is entropy? As I already said, entropy is a measure of randomness or disorder of the system. So that means if I say gases, liquids and solids, सबसे ज़्यादा एंट्रोपी किसकी होगी? Gases की, followed by liquids, followed by solids, because in gases the molecules are widely separated, they are free to move. That means randomness would be maximum in case of gases. Now, what is the formula of entropy? It is Q reversible by T. That means it is the amount of heat absorbed isothermally and reversibly divided by the absolute temperature. Now, what are the units of entropy? Units of entropy are joule, Kelvin inverse, mole inverse. Now, entropy is an extensive property and it is also a state function. Now, let us study the entropy change during phase transformations. Now, if I say entropy of fusion, that means entropy during melting. So, entropy of fusion, that is delta S fusion, would be equal to S of liquid minus S of solid, final minus initial, equal to delta H fusion upon temperature. Because the heat absorbed at constant pressure is equal to delta H. Now, entropy of vaporization. Vaporization means we are converting liquid into gas. So, delta vaporization S will be equal to S of vapor minus S of liquid, or S of gas minus S of liquid, which is equal to delta H vaporization by temperature. Entropy of sublimation would be equal to delta sublimation S equal to entropy of gas minus entropy of solid, which would be equal to delta H sublimation upon the absolute temperature. So, these are the entropy changes during phase transformations. Now, suppose you have to predict the sign of entropy. Now, let us say crystallization of brine solution. Now, what is happening? The solution is getting converted into solid. That means it is solidifying, indicating that disorder has decreased. पहले solution में जो particles move कर रहे थे, now they have crystallized into solid, indicating that entropy has decreased, that is delta S would be negative. Now, suppose we talk about melting of ice and I have to predict the sign of entropy. What will I say? That disorder of the system has increased because it has gone from solid to liquid state. That means delta S is positive. Now, suppose I have to predict for H2 gas being converted to 2H gas. Now, what is happening here? 1 mole of gas is getting converted to 2 moles of gas, indicating that entropy of the system has increased. That means delta S here is positive. Now suppose I have to predict spontaneity in terms of entropy. How do I do that? How would I know, looking at the entropy of a system, whether this reaction is spontaneous or not? So if delta S is positive, I say it is spontaneous. If delta S is negative, I say it is non-spontaneous. And if delta S is 0, I say reaction is in equilibrium. So by calculating or by looking at the value, I would be able to predict whether the reaction is spontaneous or not on the basis of these three conditions. Now, in isothermal reversible expansion, delta U is equal to 0. From first law of thermodynamics, if delta U is equal to 0, that means Q would be equal to minus W reversible. And if I have to find out entropy change is equal to Q reversible by T, that means it would be equal to minus W reversible by T. And what is the work done in reversible expansion? It is equal to minus nRT ln V2 by V1 or minus nRT ln P1 by P2. So equation would become nRT ln V2 by V1, and when I divide it by temperature, it would be nR ln V2 by V1 or nR ln P1 by P2. So these are the two expressions for entropy change during isothermal reversible expansion. Now for adiabatic expansion, since Q is equal to 0, so that means delta S will automatically become equal to 0. Now, what are the statements of second law of thermodynamics in terms of entropy? Entropy of universe is constantly increasing. All spontaneous processes are accompanied by a net increase in entropy, and all thermodynamically spontaneous processes are irreversible. So that means these are the statements of second law of thermodynamics in terms of entropy. Now we move on to the next thermodynamic quantity, that is Gibbs free energy, which is denoted by G. Now Gibbs free energy, what is the significance of Gibbs free energy? The decrease in whose value gives the measure of maximum amount of work done by the system. So that means delta G is equal to minus W non-expansion, which is equal to the useful work done by the system. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? That internal energy is the total energy of the system. उसमें से जिस एनर्जी को हम हीट में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं वो हमने बोल दिया कि एंथैल्पी है. तो टोटल एनर्जी में से जितनी एनर्जी को हम वर्क डन में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, दैट इज द यूजफुल वर्क डन बाय द सिस्टम. नाउ G is equal to H minus Ts or delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. This is Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Now, what is the relationship between delta S total is equal to delta S system plus delta S surroundings. Now what is the relationship between delta S total and delta G? Delta G is equal to minus T delta S total. Now if we have to predict spontaneity in terms of delta G, how do we do that? If delta G is negative, reaction is spontaneous. If delta G is positive, the reaction is non-spontaneous. And if delta G is equal to 0, reaction is in equilibrium. Now for a reaction which is endothermic, like for endothermic reaction, which is non-spontaneous at low temperature, what will happen on increasing the temperature? It will become spontaneous. So that means it will become spontaneous at high temperature. And for an exothermic reaction, which is non-spontaneous at high temperature, on decreasing the temperature, it becomes spontaneous. So it will become spontaneous at low temperature. Now let us solve some problems related to the concepts we have just studied. We will see how we apply the formulas which I have just told you to the numericals. Now let us look at the first question. At what temperature reduction of lead oxide by carbon, and the equation is given to you, becomes spontaneous? For the reaction, delta H and delta S are these. Now you will apply the equation delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. But see, delta G we don't have to find out, we have to find out the temperature. Now what we will do, for reaction to be spontaneous, delta G should be negative. अब delta G कब negative होगा? It is possible only if T delta S is greater than delta H. That means I will say T should be greater than delta H by delta S. Delta H कितना given है? 108.4 kilojoule. तो you will have to convert it into joule क्योंकि आपकी एंट्रोपी आपको जूल में गिवन है, एंड एंट्रोपी को आप सब्सटीट्यूट करोगे जूल में 190 जूल केल्विन इनवर्स मोल इनवर्स, and after solving the answer will come out to be 570.5 Kelvin. So whenever you have to predict the temperature, so you will say that delta G should be negative, which is possible only if T delta S is greater than delta H. That means for the reaction to be spontaneous, temperature has to be greater than 570.5 Kelvin. And whenever you are solving these numericals, you have to ensure that delta H and delta S are in the same units. So you will have to convert delta H, which was given in kilojoule, into joule by multiplying it by 1000. Now let us understand the next question, which actually involves the relationship between delta G naught and equilibrium constant. Now calculate the equilibrium constant K for the following reaction at 400 Kelvin. Delta H naught and delta S naught are given to you. Now what is the relationship between delta G naught and equilibrium constant? It is minus 2.303 RT log K. K is the equilibrium constant which you have to find out. First you will find out delta G naught because you don't even know what is delta G naught. So you will apply this equation and you will get 80 into 1000 minus 400 into 120. It comes out to be 32,000 joules. So delta G naught comes out to be 32,000 joules, and then you find out log K by substituting it in this equation. So when you substitute all these values, you get, what will you substitute the value of R? It would be 8.314 joule Kelvin inverse mole inverse. Temperature is already given to you 400 Kelvin. Now when you find out log K comes out to be minus 4.1782. Now for finding out K, I will have to take anti-log of minus 4.1782. Now how will I find out the anti-log of a negative value? कैसे निकालूंगी मैं इसको ऐसे लिख सकती हूँ minus 4 minus 0.178 let us take. तो minus 1 plus 1 करेंगे, जब हम minus 1 plus 1 करेंगे तो ये जो मेरा नंबर है वो 10 की पावर में चला जाएगा, that is 10 to the power minus 5, और ये जो मेरा नंबर है 1 minus 0.178, जब मैं इसको सब्ट्रैक्ट करूँगी from 1, I will get 0.822. जब मैं 0.82 का 2 देखूँगी एंटी लॉग टेबल से तो माई वैल्यू विल बी 6637. दैट मीन्स मैं फर्स्ट डिजिट के बाद डेसिमल लगा दूंगी और इंटू 10 रेज़ टू द पावर माइनस 5 मेरे पास पहले से था, तो k की वैल्यू आ जाएगी 6.637 into 10 to the power minus 5 after solving this question. Now let us solve more questions related to the other topics. Now let us look at this next question, which is related to the work done in isothermal reversible expansion. Now calculate Q, W, delta U when 0.75 mole of ideal gas expands isothermally and reversibly at 27 degrees Celsius from a volume 15 liter to 25 liter. Now when I taught you internal energy, I told you that delta U is equal to 0 for isothermal expansion, isothermal reversible expansion. So that means delta U is equal to तो 0 आ गया. अब वर्क डन का फॉर्मूला क्या होता है? इट इज़ minus 2.303 nRT log V2 upon V1. Now let us substitute the values. N is 0.75, R is 8.314 log 25 by 15. So on solving this, you will get W is equal to minus 955.5 joules. How will you see the log of it? You can simplify it. It will become log 5 upon log 3. So that means log 5 minus log 3. log 5 आप कैसे देखोगे? log 50 का 0 and log 30 का 0. Or you can convert it into decimal. On dividing 5 by 3, you will get 1.66. You will see the log of 16 का 6 देखेंगे लॉग टेबल से, एंड जो भी आपकी वैल्यू आएगी उन सब डिजिट्स के पहले आप डेसिमल को लगा देंगे. So work done on substituting these values will be this. Now you have to find out Q. From first law of thermodynamics, delta U is equal to Q plus W. Delta U is 0, that means Q is equal to minus W. आप नेगेटिव आपके पास ऑलरेडी है, इसका मतलब Q will become plus 955.5 joules. This is your answer. Now questions related to these topics are given in the module. You will apply the formulas. When you apply the concept which you have already studied to the problem, then only your concept becomes more clear. So now you have to practice the problems related to these formulas and concepts. Thank you. God bless you.